Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. I didn't introduce us in episode 8, but I know everybody knows who we are, and our names are right down there. Anyway, so this is it, the finale of Downton Abbey. Goodness, and we're wearing the same clothes because we taped this at the same time.
Yes.
And I made a lot of predictions, and okay, look, I already knew the answers. but the fact
you were making them anyway.
But I made them in between the times that I saw the episodes. There was no way, there was no way Bertie didn't come back, and they did it, I thought, in a nice way, of course.
Yes.
I loved it.
No, the whole arc with his mother I thought was great, and her coming around felt genuine and with good reason behind it. And
it was progress.
Yes,
the running theme of the series, progress.
So let's, before we get to the fact that, I mean, no show has ever delivered a happier ending to the than they just did, which seems. Yeah. But like, so we saw progress, and we talked about it after episode 8 of whether you'd buy Mary and Thomas's progress. That was abrupt, it seemed. Although Mary, at least her bad behavior really solely focused on Edith, so you could maybe buy that. But Robert, of course, came farther than almost any character in television. I mean, but I mean, don't you think? I mean,
sure, over 6 seasons, absolutely.
Over 6 seasons, but his was handled, I thought, very consistently with a degree of deftness. Like he's not an idiot. He's bad about numbers and economics, but he figured that out. He ceded control, and then by the end, he'd really sort of settled to maybe being a grandfather. Where he had that really excited moment, like where he found out that Edith was going to outrank everyone. He was legitimately
thrilled.
Fantastic! That guy died. Now Bertie's going to be the guy.
He got to have that moment. I mean, obviously he was happy for his daughter, but he got to have that honest moment of like, she married up in the world.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like one of my kids finally, climbed. No, go ahead.
I was just, I mean, you look at Robert, who was surrounded by so many powerful women in his life. His mother, his wife, his 3 to 2 daughters, and for him to go through all that in that time period and have the changes he went through were amazing. And ultimately, I love, that last bit was Cora, to lose his daughters through marriage and death, and then to lose technically his wife to a job was hard and devastating on him, but that ultimate satisfaction of seeing his wife do what she loved.
Yeah, and be really good at it.
Really good at it, and to come to terms with that, I think, was the final seal on that. Like, I'm happy, and I can be happy with this life.
Right, because there's that idea of, well, now that the kids are married off, we can do whatever retirement is going to be for people like us, whether that's travel or whatever, and the idea that Cora has something else to do that involves him not at all. He could have very easily sort of put his foot down about and been really kind of petulant.
Because remember in the beginning, he was always like, you're the general garrison leader of the fly. Everything was his decision. Like the whole town. Well, and now, really, that doesn't happen anymore. It's Mary and Tom are running it, and Cora's got the hospital.
Yeah, and he's cool with that.
He has his dog.
Yeah, he has a dog, exactly. And even Violet, I think, is sort of like over the hospital thing, and she says that really sweet thing to Cora, and it's like, okay, we're all moving on.
Stay on this wide shot here for a sec, because we lose them. The significant thing is at the end, we get half of Tom in the frame. Maybe you at home don't even see Tom. He's to the right of Edith. In that photo. And then after Tom, who's actually, that picture goes on, we cut her off halfway. I don't think we have her on the screen at all here. Rose. And these two kids, these two young people who both had lived in America, but both were from somewhere else, weren't from this world, sort of both learned and spoke incredibly frankly to Robert at various different times and taught him. And, there's my therapist talked, Gary Penn, by the way, good doctor. But he talked about it too. There's an incredible, and I'm not there yet, but he got there. But there's a freeing moment in your life when people criticize you, right? Or say, hey, you really blew that, or you did that. And your reaction isn't, no, you blew it, which still, we all have so much of, to be like, really, you think I blew it? Why did I blow it? Maybe I blew it. And that's,
how do I not blow it again?
Right, how do I not blow it again? And that's incredibly freeing when you're like, well, maybe I blew it. Maybe I said the wrong thing. I didn't. Okay, all right, And Robert has somehow got that, where he's like, yeah. And she says directly, don't make her choose. She's not going to leave you, but don't make her choose. And he's like, All right. I won't make her choose. I'll just go tell her she's doing a great job, and I'll see her less, but she'll be happy, and then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Because and Rose obviously, has, having watched her own awful parents and then seeing Cora and Robert, I think has learned a lot along the way about what works and what doesn't work in a relationship. I love the whole thing when Mrs. Patmore asks, "Oh, you didn't give her your own mother's name?" No.
It speaks volumes.
Yeah, and
we forgot to talk last time about the rescue of Lord Merton.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I thought, here's one thing. About the things that obviously everybody knew Bertie was coming back. It had to work out. Inconceivable. No TV show would set that up and then not pay that off. But I thought Lord Merton was being poisoned.
Oh,
that was my
dark.
I thought they were like, wow, not only so she's not going to be there to help. We're gonna pick up this.
This is the last act of Notorious.
Right, that's totally. They were right. Eventually, whatever her name is, what's the Mrs. Crawley was gonna carry her down the steps.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So not being poisoned, he did have.
He had anemia, but the different kind. Not the kind
the bad
to kill
one.
him.
Yeah.
Pernicious.
Right, pernicious.
Excuse me.
Which I guess that was what it was probably leukemia. I mean, I'm gonna guess that.
I guess.
Maybe.
Well, pernicious anemia is.
Oh, it's a real thing
yeah,
still?
it is a real thing.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's just, but it's like.
I've watched a lot of doctor shows.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I Wikipedia'd it. Don't worry, I had to. Yeah, it's basically like it is a very severe form of anemia that now obviously we can treat, but
right.
Back then it's a huge vitamin deficiency that would eventually shut down your liver and.
I got you. Okay.
And they didn't have the word for it, but I guess we can assume that Carson has Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And even that, that was a fairly happy ending too, and that he gets to stick around.
He's got a wife who loves him, even though he's a curmudgeon.
Yeah,
I
Thomas
kind of
gets to
wish
come
they
back.
had built that up a little bit because it was kind of he suddenly has the worst Parkinson's ever. But I'll forgive it. I'll forgive it.
Yeah, those were the tremors came on rather quickly.
Yeah, they did. But
right, and we'd never heard that his brother and his father and his grandfather had it. But
now she has to cook. Now Mrs. Hughes has to cook forever for him.
Right, that's true.
He was never going to cook again. That was just a lesson, so for him to shut up while she's doing it.
That's true.
But a nice way, of course, again, Robert sort of stepping up, like first with we're not going to fire Thomas after the suicide attempt, and then we're bringing him back. We'll bring him back, and Carson gets to stay, and you can still walk around and be in charge and give some orders because Thomas can handle that, but he'll technically be the
Thomas gets what he wants. He just wants to be the butler. That's all. That's his dream is to just be the butler.
But also he wants he felt comfortable with these people, even if many of them had hated him. He had the nice moment. You remember at the beginning, among the incredibly vicious, awful things that Thomas did, he got Bates. He almost had Bates executed.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, Thomas committed unforgivable sins, but.
Like Mrs. Patmore said, look, we've both been here for a long time.
Right,
so whether I like you or not, you're still
You're here.
And even back in the previous episode when Thomas left, Bates even said, "I'd rather leave as friends than enemies."
Yeah,
so
right.
They had they had buried the hatchet there, and I think Thomas coming home ultimately is great, and he does have a true friend in Baxter, and I think that's going to help a lot.
Yeah, it seems like Thomas will be, being in charge probably make him a better guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And we'll have Carson to keep him in
check.
And he can, and when Rose visits, he can definitely hook up with her Jewish husband.
Exactly.
Come on. Come on.
Look, he's just British. They all seem that way.
All right, maybe.
You were talking about Tom and the editor.
Oh my God. Okay, so
that's a thing waiting to happen.
Again, in my perfect spin-off world where it's Edith's newspaper, it's going to be Tom and the editor. And now we get to have Tom and Henry's car shop.
Right.
As part of our future story.
He runs a car shop.
I know.
She's the editor of a magazine.
That's so cute. I'm so excited. I'm like,
do we think that she'll still be an editor now that she's the Marchioness? I mean,
well, she's not the editor. She just owns the newspaper.
She's the publisher.
Yeah, she's
right.
The publisher,
right, but is she going to be as hands-on, or is she now just going to sort of flit in occasionally and see what's going on?
I don't think she needs to, because I think the paper's in good hands with the editor.
But I think that the rules, like as open as the mother was, like they have. Now there are certain duties that you have to do, and it doesn't involve. I mean, she could come in once a month, but but that's probably going to get turned over to the new Mrs. Branson.
True.
So I mean, they seem like they didn't over the top give us, as I thought they would, Baxter and Mosley, but
it's implied.
It's implied, yeah. And Bates and Anna had the baby, thank God. Amazing that Sergeant Willis got to keep getting lines.
I know. It's like every.
Kept
I'm
writing
like,
that guy in. He wasn't in the
there.
finale, but
I know.
yeah.
Oh, and we did finally get that moment though of Mary helping Anna undress. We had mentioned that in a previous
funny,
episode.
yeah.
Are we ever going to see like Mary and Anna as equals? And yep, we did. We got that. That was nice. That
She
was
had the
fun.
baby in her bed, and that's a messy affair.
That
Let's
was being
face it.
commented on, like, oh, I can't believe she's having in the ladies' bed. I'm like, oh, Carson. Oh,
They're gonna burn that mattress.
And
is all I'm saying.
And Mary and Henry are gonna have a.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
they're
She's
gonna have a
pregnant
baby,
again, and everything's just.
I mean,
ginger peachy.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave us a Shawshank Redemption ending.
Yeah, I mean,
You got everything you wanted.
it's true.
And presumably, like, if Lord Merton is going to marry,
I think they
married.
got.
or got,
they got married,
now that he is married to her, like, even if the kids get the house and stuff, she's probably going to get the money,
Oh,
right?
exactly.
got some money,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's
No,
right.
I
At
think
least,
I like to think that they just get written out of everything because they're terrible, terrible people.
I did. I still think they were poisoning him.
Yeah.
But I liked his line was great. Larry, you're my son, and I'll always love you. But I can't quite seem to something like I
Yeah,
can't
I
quite seem to
can't
get
find
myself to
myself
like
To
you.
like you, yeah.
I'm out of here, right? And everything works out great except for and Mrs. Patmore and
yes.
Farmer
Yeah.
John.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
and Daisy
Daisy
and
Andy.
and Daisy's got a new haircut.
I know, it's so cute.
Her 20s bob.
Right. Everybody.
Everyone but the doctor. seems to
Everyone
have
but
a-
Dr. Clarkson.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's true.
All he does is save lives.
Well, he gets the hospital.
I
That's
was gonna say he
Yeah.
correctly diagnosed Lord Merton, so
Yeah.
he's still relevant.
exactly.
Oh yeah, no, he's totally relevant, and he can have an affair.
Because you know what?
He can have an affair with Cora.
He probably got misdiagnosed in York.
Yep.
Probably
That's what I
So-
like to think.
Take
Yeah.
that.
Just shuffling people through, no connection.
I know.
Looks like I said, I'm sorry, you've got incurable pleurisy. That's not what it was. What was it?
Devious pneumonia? I mean, no,
No, it
no,
was
it's
the anemia. The
pernicious anemia. Thank you. I keep thinking vermicious canid, but that's not it.
Anyway, I was sad when it ended. I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of, it was sort of laughably silly, I thought at times, but it rallied, and maybe the fourth episode this year I thought was outstanding, and then the penultimate one was also great. It was really, anyway, I'll miss it.
Do you think we'll get like a Christmas special, like a revisit?
I'd heard there's an and a movie, right?
I think
Okay.
there might be there's probably a
Excellent.
movie where we'll finally kill some people.
Yeah,
Every
10
time anybody got in a
years
car,
later.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
they're dead. Everybody in a car is dead.
There was a lot. You could tell that. I don't know if they generally shoot the rest of the season not during the summer, but boy, this was
Yeah.
like, we're outside, we're
Yeah.
having a cocktail on the lawn, we're taking a walk. Like, it's not fucking raining in England.
know.
You know,
Well,
let's
and then there was, like,
quick
we'll
run
have
outside
the-
with cameras.
We'll have the wedding at Christmas, but there was very little air, like outside of the Christmas tree and a couple decorations. Like,
Oh, it's
but
true.
suddenly
No
it's
snow on the
Christmas.
ground or
Yeah,
anything,
suddenly
yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, it was good.
I loved
And
it.
last thing, Henry, like all the outsiders made it happen. Like
Yeah.
they're the people they needed outsiders to change their view from
Yeah.
Rose and Tom, because Henry was like, yeah, I'm gonna be friends with Edith. Like I just am.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they had
that's
that
so
nice
sweet.
conversation of that's
In the
not the
car.
Mary I know.
Yeah.
So anyway, good stuff. It'll be missed.
Totally miss you, Downton Abbey.
I need to go watch some new British thing now.
No, I'm good actually.
Really?
It will be. I'm not going to give my heart away again
That's
for a
true.
while. I think,
That's-
but
You know I'm right about Rose's husband. Thanks for watching, everybody.